Time left in Joe Biden's term as president is 176 days, equal to 4,241 hours. The notable work of arresting Ismael ZAMBADA, the boss of drug trafficking in this century, his descendants they will reread among their friends in future. How cartel leader, Ismael ZAMBADA was lured to U.S. in elaborate sting. Reuters, a newspaper seller, arranges newspapers reporting the El Paso, Texas, U.S., arrest of Mexican drug lord Ismael ZAMBADA. Reuters. Ismael ZAMBADA is one of the most notorious names in drug war history, synonymous with the fearsome power and corrosive influence of the most important drug cartel in the world. The last of an original generation of drug cartel leaders, he created the Sinaloa cartel alongside Joaquin El Chapo Guzman from the remnants of the Guadalajara cartel after it collapsed in 1989. But unlike his infamous partner, who was twice jailed and escaped, Ismael was able to evade capture for some 35 years. Until now. U.S. authorities arrested him in El Paso, Texas on Thursday. He has already pleaded not guilty to multiple charges in federal court in Texas. The full dipper history of Ismael ZAMBADA. Ismael Mario Zambada Garcia, El Alamo, Sinaloa, January 1, 1948, known as Mayo, or Don Mayo, is a Mexican drug trafficker. Along with El Chapo Guzman and El Azul, he served as leader of the Sinaloa cartel. It is presumed that, after the capture of Guzman and the alleged death of Esparragoza, he ended up as the main leader of the aforementioned criminal organization, but delegating most of the cartel's operations to several of the middle managers. This story was prepared by Ndayishimiye Alphonse in behalf of Apostle TV, for informing the worldwide about the FBI agent's work of having arrested the known drug trafficker from Mexico. Ismael ZAMBADA predecessor, Joaquin Guzman Lora successor, Ivan Archivaldo Guzman Salazar. Personal information. Birth name Ismael Mario Zambada Garcia. Birth January 1, 1948. On 76 years. El Alamo, Sinaloa, Mexico. Nationality Mexican. Drug trafficker, leader of criminal organization, member of Sinaloa cartel. Criminal information, arrested. He worked as a logistics coordinator for the Sinaloa cartel, which is also said to have been the head of the shadow organization to make the cartel one of the most powerful criminal organizations in the world, helping in the export of cocaine and heroin from Mexico to various cities in the United States through tunnels, trains, ships, planes, submarines, small planes and helicopters. Biography and career. Criminal career. He began his career in drug trafficking in the 1970s, in the Guadalajara cartel, an organization directed by Miguel Ángel Félix Gallardo, Ernesto Fonseca Carrillo and Rafael Caro Quintero. He then worked in the Juarez cartel of Amado Carrillo, the Lord of the Skies, in which he rose to assume leadership after Carrillo's alleged death. In contrast to other drug traffickers, Zambada has always tried to maintain a low profile, which has allowed him to remain practically untouchable by Mexican and U.S. authorities for more than 5 decades. Likewise, in the 90s and part of the millennium he worked alongside Edelio Lopez and Ignacio Coronel. His greatest criminal activity occurred in the late 1980s when the federal government apprehended the then top drug lords in Mexico, all from Sinaloa: Rafael Caro Quintero, Ernesto Fonseca Carrillo and Miguel Ángel Félix Gallardo, uncle of the Arellano Felix brothers, with whom he had formed a pact, which was broken for not complying, protecting and not betraying Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. Already in the 1990s, the restructuring of Mexican criminal organizations that followed other important arrests, such as those of the leaders of the so-called Tijuana Benjamin Arellano Felix and Del Golfo Ociel Cardenas Guillen cartels, led to the invasion of controlled squares and territories, as well as a war between the different groups, both existing and emerging, and between them and the Mexican armed forces and federal police, disputing the routes for the transfer and distribution of drugs. Starting in 2001, Ismael ZAMBADA began working in collaboration with El Chapo Guzman, strengthening the Sinaloa cartel, especially through his son Vicente Zambada Niebla, who played a key role in the cartel by coordinating the sending of several tons of cocaine from different countries in Central and South America via Mexico, destined for the United States. There is an unofficial version that Ismael ZAMBADA resorted to plastic surgery to change his face, thus avoiding his identification. There are few current images of him. When Joaquin Chapo Guzman was arrested in February 2014, his great ally Ismael ZAMBADA, and one of his mentors, took his place at the helm of the Sinaloa cartel. That same day, the DEA made Mayo the most powerful boss in northern Mexico and the only one who had never been captured by the authorities, until Thursday, July 25, 2024. Ismael ZAMBADA has become a legend in the mountains of Sinaloa, which became his refuge during his career of more than 50 years in the world of drug trafficking and, despite the mega operations of the Mexican security forces against him, the first time he was caught was when he was 76 years old. The prosecutor's office points out that it was El Mayo who prepared and organized Chapo's second escape, with the aim of removing the pressure that the Mexican authorities exerted on him. The head of operations of the DEA, Jack Riley, stated that El Mayo is the most powerful drug trafficker. I believe that the organization he formed is the most solid that exists because it has endured in the history of international drug trafficking, he noted. And ZAMBADA has worked mainly to increase the cartel's heroin production, while at the same time he has established himself as one of the main contacts to introduce cocaine from Colombia to the United States. They shoot me and euphoria breaks out. But after a few days we come to know that nothing has changed. The drug problem involves millions. How to control them? As for the capos locked up, dead or extradited, their replacements are already out there. Drug trafficking is in society, rooted, like corruption. He confessed that on 4 occasions he felt close to the Mexican army and that he lives in constant fear of being arrested and locked up, expressing the possibility of taking his own life if he were caught. Use of the armed forces. On February 18, 2010, El Vicentio was extradited to the United States to face federal charges. Years later he was a witness in the trial against El Chapo Guzman, where he assured that Guzman Lora bribed the Mexican military with up to $1 million a month. Another son of Mayo, Serafin ZAMBADA Ortiz, was arrested with his wife in November 2013 while crossing the border in Nogales, Arizona, and she was later released. The third male, Ismael ZAMBADA Imperial, alias El Mayito Gordo, was captured by the Mexican Navy in a community in the city of Culiacan, capital of the state of Sinaloa. On October 20, 2008, Jesus ZAMBADA Garcia, alias El Patron, brother of Ismael ZAMBADA, and Jesus ZAMBADA Reyes, 21, his nephew and son of Reynaldo ZAMBADA, were arrested. The PGR of Mexico links El Patron with the murder of the former regional security coordinator of the Federal Preventive Police, Edgar Millan. In September 2020, and officially, photographs of Dwayne ZAMBADA, the alleged grandson of Ismael ZAMBADA, and his alleged participation in the Sinaloa cartel were leaked. Who they claim is an important piece within the criminal organization. We thank you for watching our documentary. You may subscribe for our next updated information in selective topics and we wish you to have nice day.